Welcome back to another episode of So That's What I Do, the podcast that speaks to business owners and entrepreneurs from all walks of life. And in today's episode, we have a guest who's built one of the most visually striking and unique customer experiences that I've ever seen, and it's called Liquid Mist. They're part vintage bar, part creative space, and it's a business that puts storytelling, design, and customer interaction at its very core. So I'd like to welcome to the podcast, Andy.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for doing this, Sam.
Thank you for agreeing to it. I know in the early stages you were like, so what's the catch? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, there's nothing such as a free dinner, is there? But you were laid any fears, so yeah, I'm glad to do it.
bless you. Well, yeah, excellent. I've done quite a fair amount of homework. And for the listening guests that might be listening to this, could you explain in a relative nutshell what it is that you do, and then I've got loads of questions off the back of it already.
Okay, right. So basically, there are vape stores up and down the country that just look very similar to everything else. I wanted to create something that was, like you said, visually captivating, quite eclectic, somewhere where people could feel really welcome when they come into the store and not just treated as a customer, because that's what I've experienced in the past going into vape stores. They just want to take your money and just basically get rid of you. Whereas here we have people coming in for coffee. They don't necessarily have to buy anything. It's more of a community vape store, to be fair. But we wanted something that was very oldie worldy looking, because I like the Peaky Blinders. Basically, I've always wanted to dress like the Peaky Blinders. However, in today's society, people would look at you and think, weirdo. It happens. It happens.
Okay.
You get this from people who go to these goth weekends and stuff. But nothing wrong with that. But I found a way of doing it this way where I could dress like a gentleman, suppose, on a daily basis. And that's what I love. And people love the fact that they can come in and there's a piano here, there are Chesterfield armchairs to sit in, there's the bar to sit at. We can mix up whatever people want. We've got e-liquids like Jack Daniel's honey, Irish whiskey flavours, Jaeger bomb flavours, anything you can think of. And it's totally unique. And this was started back in lockdown, the concept anyway. And I was fed up of going into vape stores, sort of spending £15-20 on a bottle of juice and it just being fairly bland. So I researched flavour houses and then got them to formulate, flavours for us, directly for us. And then we branded them ourselves and we've never looked back. We've got a reduce scheme where people can come and, well, if you don't mind, I'll show you, actually.
Yeah, come on. Show us around.
So we have these bottles. These, okay. One thing that what made me do it was the amount of what we class as stock liquids that every vape store up and down the country have on the shelves. People would buy a bottle of 100ml juice and when it's gone, they put it in landfill. What we have is something called reduce, reuse, recycle. And then basically people come in and choose a bottle. We mix up whatever they want and we have a deposit return scheme. So if they bring that bottle back, then they get a discount for refilling that bottle, which saves it going into landfill. So quite big on ecology.
Very good.
And it's people love the concept of being able to mix something that they've never had before or they could never get anywhere else. And that's one of the reasons why we did what we did. We've got 2 stores now and we are looking at a further 3 in the next 2 years.
Bloody hell. Okay, so you're really scaling it up. That's really cool. And in the same Peaky Blinders-esque feel to all the stores, is that the idea?
Yeah, same Peaky Blinder-esque theme. We also have in the back room in one of the stores a mental health counselling office where Guy, I believe actually you've spoke to him, you've sent him an email and he's going to contact you after this.
No way.
But yeah, so he's doing quite well. He recently opened that up about 6 months ago. He's slowly getting some clients, but I'm sure with your help as well, it would catapult him as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, I'd love to help with that. Yeah, of course. That's really interesting. So this is the thing, right? This is why I initially wanted to speak to you, because whether you vape or not, this isn't a thing to convince people to vape or not.
No,
It's,
no,
it's
no.
if you do vape, this is really like an interesting thing. For me, it's so intrigued about how you can just think outside the box. Because if I think of a vape shop, like you said, quite white, quite plain, some flavors, thank you, goodbye. Like there's not a lot to it. And when I've seen the videos and like the walk around of your shop, it's got more of a, as you say, Peaky Blinders feel, but it's also kind of like a vintage bar, maybe a tattoo place as well, kind of vibes about it.
Yeah,
And I think it's really cool. It looks like a cool place to hang out, to be fair.
that's what people like about it as well. And like I said, people
Yeah.
will literally come in and just for a chat. We never put any pressure on anybody. Sometimes they'll just come in for a coffee and a chat. And a lot of the time, people come in and share their issues with me or Guy
Mm.
or whoever's in the store. And because we're so approachable, that then obviously leads on to, well, someone like Guy being able to sort of offer the services there that he does.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I think having that well, and you've already used the word community as well. Like you've clearly built a community or building a community at scale as well. And if you can do it in multiple locations, that would be really quite impressive as
I
well.
just think people want something different, Sam. And
Yeah.
when COVID hit, that damaged us. I mean, we opened our first store 2 weeks before the lockdown,
Couldn't it have got worse timing?
literally. And what we did was we took all the products home and we actually operated from our conservatory. Maybe a bit naughty,
Mm,
but we
I
were just
understand.
sending them out in the post. But that kept our head above water. And then it took a
Hmm.
while to sort of build back up again. But we started off in a market, on a market stall.
Oh wow.
Well, actual fact, I actually started with a mate of mine who works for me now with £500 between us, and we started doing car boot sales.
No way.
So we were working full time and then doing a car boot sale on a Sunday, and all the money we make, we were just investing back into more products and things. Then we started doing house parties.
Interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah, it was a bit
Oh
weird,
wow.
but basically what we were offering is friends and family, if they hosted a party, we'd turn up with all our product. They would get 25% discount. And that's what helped us get the name out as well. Then we moved into the market
Mm,
stall. We were there for a year. We outgrew that, and then we opened up a store. And then we just went through a major revamp. Then we revamped this one. We found this store in Gainsborough, and then we
mhm.
did the same um, aesthetics, if you like, in the first store. And it's proved really popular and really successful. We also, I mean, I'm not usually dressed like this for work. I usually have the Peaky Blinders outfit on, and we stand outside and people will come in and they'll
Yeah.
drive past and say, and I always make a point of asking people, what made you come in today? And they'll say, we've seen you outside, stood there, and it just looks intriguing. The
It
guy that
does.
did the
Yeah, it
video
really does.
for us, he actually drove past one day and pulled up. He said, "You are the smartest shop owner I've seen in years. What do you do?" And I said, "Come in and have a look."
Yeah.
And that's what led to
Wow.
him doing the drone footage of the shop. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's really good.
people love it. People
It's
do love it.
yeah, it's really nice. Mm. Yeah, I can imagine, and I think having like from the footage that I've seen of from that video you spoke about, you've got as I said, you've got the is it Chesterfield, and where you can all sit around and you've even got the fire burning as well. Like it looks really
Yeah,
smart. Looks
we've
really, really
got
smart.
like liquids on optics. We've got
Look at that.
e-liquids
It's like an actual bar.
on tap as well.
No way.
So yeah, yeah, it was just it's the vibe people love. They absolutely love the vibe.
Yeah.
And the customer service as well, because that's really, really important to us. Really important.
I guess because you're so customer facing, isn't it? It's you're there with them. You can't hide from bad customer service when you're in front of people.
It's the age-old thing, isn't it? You get something negative and it spreads like wildfire. But we're very proud of the fact that we've got a huge customer following. We've got 5-star rated views on Trustpilot, on Google. We've never had a bad well, sorry, we have had one bad review, but it turned out that someone was just, you know, it happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, of course it
But
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, we're proud of that.
One of the interesting things. Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure you are. You should be. You should definitely should be. I think this is one of the cool things as well is that you've created something that's outside of a vape shop, and you've created a feeling. You've created a space that people can go to and enjoy, as well as buying products. It's not you've really thought outside the box, and not necessarily the typical outside the box either. You've gone, this is what I like and this is what I like, and they're gonna make something together. And
I think that's what businesses need to do these days, because as I was trying to say earlier, when COVID hit, people jumped online, and that was the new way of retail and shopping. I think now in the last 18 months, definitely, people have got back into that. I want to see the whites of people's eyes, and they want that customer interaction. And I think that's that's the nice thing, because everyone did think that COVID was going to kill the high street, and the high streets are struggling up and down the country. But in my opinion, that's because of certain, what can I say? Certain shops. There's too many betting shops. There's too many charity shops. There's too many barber shops. There's, you know, I mean, we had Nigel Farage in our store a couple of weeks ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he just popped in and just said, you know, I just wanted to check it out, and he was asking about the current legislation and stuff, which is a worry. But it's things like disposable vapes, and I know we don't really want to talk about vapes as much, but I've always took the decision never to sell disposable vapes, and I never will do. And it's interesting that other vape stores up and down the country have jumped on that bandwagon, openly sold disposables, and now they're in a position come June the 1st that they now have to tell all those customers that have been happily selling them to that, oh, actually, they're no good for you, really. So they're getting banned. We need to switch you onto proper device. We've always done that. So I like to think that I'm always trying to conjure up new ways and new things to keep people interested. I've got lots of ideas, but I keep them close to my chest, because people do copy, but which is quite flattering, actually.
I think so, and I think that's a healthy mindset to see it as a flattering thing. Like my business, I sell Pokemon cards, so anyone can sell Pokemon cards. But one of the things that I do is try and create a community, try and make it different. I'm like live sales, so I do like live video streaming.
Have you spoken to? Sorry to interrupt. Have you spoken to a company in Gainsborough called Poker Gains?
Poker Gains. I've heard the name. I don't know if
they're doing really. They used to be just opposite the across the road from us, but they've just moved. They'd be interested in this.
Oh cool. Yeah,
you could probably collaborate with them, because they do really well on poker games.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay, yeah, I'll write that down as well. Poker Games. Thank you. Yeah, I think the thing is you've got to stand out, because everyone can do the business to a degree. And I think if every vape shop in the country became a Peaky Blinders, that would be a literal copy, which is unlikely to happen. But as you say, they might get certain ideas off you, and as long as you're always coming up with new ideas, it kind of feels like you're miles behind. Like, I don't mind about you doing that, because I did that 6 months ago. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Like that, right? The whole the reduce, reuse, recycle actually was the first in the UK. the concept was the first in the UK and possibly the whole world. It was never ever seen before. And today we still get reps coming in saying, "Can we take photos? Can we take a video? Can I show my manager? This is the coolest vape shop we've ever seen." And it's really good. It's really good to know that we've done a good job.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And how have you found? So, like, I'm just thinking of other business owners that are listening, and for myself, really. How have you found the growing the business, like with the personnel, getting different people in? How have you found that as an experience?
Um, I've made some mistakes in the past. In my opinion, you don't. What's most important to me is someone being able to talk to somebody. It doesn't necessarily mean that people have to know everything there is to know about vaping. As long as they can engage with people, which is paramount these days, I believe, and talk to people and let them feel welcome. I think that's the major thing that I instill in the staff, to be honest.
Yeah, and look for when if somebody's coming new to wow, that's a really good point. That's interesting. How do you think that your oversight of the business, like how you're going to be able to see it when there's 5 shops, do you think that will change how you will you have to let go of certain things? Will you be traveling around, or how will you feel about it?
That's a good question, because you always want to break a little piece of you off and put it on someone's shoulder, don't you?
Sure.
Yeah, I've realised that the bigger it gets, the more I'll sort of be in the background as such. However, I'm one of these people that I just love to work. Sad to some people, but I just love to work. So when it gets to 5 stores, for instance, that's the ideal goal. My idea is just to be on the road 5 to 6 days a week, just spending time with each. Yeah, just instilling that people are doing it the way I want them to do it. So
that's really cool.
I can't see myself retiring yet. Not yet.
No rush anyway.
No, not yet.
That's really cool.
I've got ambitions.
Well, I think yeah, it's good to have them, but I mean, it's I think that's the thing, isn't it? Once you get to 5, then it's, I'm not stopping here. What's next? Like, you don't need to know what's next all the time, but to have the mindset of there could be something after 5. There, we're not shutting shop after 5. Like,
absolutely. I think the industry's changing so quickly all the time. I think with my mindset, I'm always trying to think of the next thing that I can do. And like you said earlier, most people are stuck in their ways and they're not moving forward and scratching their heads thinking, why aren't people coming in? Whereas I'll never stand still on trying to come up with an event or a theme or whatever it is to make it work. So
wow. I think as a business owner, an entrepreneur, I think you need to have that to a degree, right? You need to be able to have the ideas, or have somebody close to you that does have ideas. But I don't think it's a bad thing at all to have the ideas yourself and to just be thinking of what I can change, what can we do different, what does next year look like? As long as it looks different and we're
absolutely. I think people have just got to remain tenacious, and if they're driven. Like I'm very driven. I don't think you can fail. Yes, it gets tough, but you have your good days and your bad days. But the good days outweigh the bad days. And if I've had a bad day, sometimes, fine. Tomorrow's a different day. You just move on. You don't live in the past, do you?
Yeah, one of the questions I've got for almost every guest is, how do you personally deal if you have like a bad day or a bad week? Not necessarily in sales or if the shop's not been busy, but just in general, something happens in the business that you're like, oh man, like that's really, like legislation comes in or something. How do you personally deal with it?
I'm quite sort of, I'm very extrovert, but sometimes when things like that happen, I will sort of go into myself and sort of evaluate things and do some research and find out if there's a way around it, or like I said, you've just got to be tenacious and just keep going. You've got to get your head down, and every now and again just look up and just see what's around and see what the competition's doing, and just think, right, how can I make this better? And so it's just not been standing still. And I think some small businesses have hit that sort of wall, and I see it sometimes on forums and groups that, you know, people are asking for advice, and the sort of thinking, oh, the way around it is to borrow money, and I'm proud of the fact that I've never borrowed anything. It's literally nothing. I don't owe anything to anybody. It's all just been through hard work, working 2 jobs, and just reinvesting all the time. We've got 5, 6 staff at the moment. Yeah, you've just got to keep going. Yes, you have a bad day, but just push yourself down and just get on with it the next day.
I think that's really good advice as well, to hear that as well. I think for myself, I would probably feel very similar to yourself. We have, again, ups and downs and things that happen. I personally do exactly the same. I go kind of quiet and inside myself. I'm just trying to I just need to plan it all out and just work it all out and see what the best options are. And then I get the energy back, and I'm like, right, this is our goal, and we go forward. So it's really cool to hear that that's kind of how you'd look at it.
Yeah, I think to some extent, though, sometimes I'm a bit probably like a duck or a swan, looking all calm on the surface, but paddling like hell underneath. Yeah. So, but yeah,
I think that's good for your staff though as well.
Well, yeah, I don't really see the point in worrying too much about it. You know, in the early days, there was a lots of competition from other establishments, so to speak, and they were causing lots of trouble. And I took it at first, it bothered me, because I thought, well, what crikey, I've only been operating 6 months, and why are they picking on me? But then I thought, do you know what? Actually, it's quite flattering, actually. And then I started turning it into, well, all this negativity and all these mentions about my company are actually free advertising.
Yeah.
So it was like, do you know what? Yeah, knock yourself out, say what you want. and that's how I've took it now. And now I'm quite confident in which stores we've got at the moment. I strongly believe that we've the best stores around in the area by far, with customer service, with products, with quality, with customer care, everything. It's aesthetics, the lot. So, and that's blowing my own trumpet, but do you know what? If I don't, who else will?
Well, if you can't blow your own trumpet, you're in trouble, right?
There you go. So yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah, that's cool. And you say the stores. How far out are you going from your base? How far are you looking to go?
So the main store that's first started is in Scunthorpe, Ashby. And the second store is about 10 to 15 miles away. So within 40, 45 minutes drive of the first store.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
I don't want to. I mean, we're already getting requests and people wanting me to franchise the idea, and but I think when you franchise it, you lose control of it, and you don't necessarily get the level of care that you want to instill. So, yeah, all our e-liquids are all UK made. They're all sourced from high quality flavour houses, so they're all unique to us. So, you know, that's another selling point. So,
and you say people can buy them online. I'm just thinking, let's say I'm in Leicester, but if there's somebody in London or wherever, and they can't get to you for whatever reason, did you say you could get them online as well? Is that possible?
Yes, yeah, we can. Yeah. Wow. We send our liquids out all over the UK, and we've even got customers in the USA, Germany, Italy. So yeah, it's what's made it difficult is Brexit.
Yeah,
To
understandably.
be fair, that
Yeah.
has made it difficult because of obviously the tobacco regulations and things like that. But that has slowed down a bit. But to say that we've got a good presence online, yeah, we're doing really well.
Great. Do you as well, like just for other people listening, do you feel like the confidence that you've got in your business and and what you present to customers, do you feel like that's grown over time because you've just been doing it consistently day in, day out forever? Is there any other things that you put in your own confidence in the brand?
To be honest, I've been in sales for over 20 odd years. And I always said to myself, I will never sell something that I don't believe in.
Mm.
So I always chose things like double glazing, utilities, things like that. It didn't float my boat. It was, no, I didn't believe in it. So I do think you've got to actually believe in what you're selling and have that confidence in what you're doing. So that would be my advice to anyone that's got a business or staff working for them. They have to believe in what they're selling and what your purpose is.
And you said that you're driven. What particularly drives you on a day-to-day basis or even longer term? What is it that drives you? It is.
Don't get me wrong, I didn't have a bad childhood, but my mum and dad, he worked on the steelworks, she worked on the land. It was tough. They had 6 kids. It was tough, and they gave us what they could. I always wanted to have children and not have them struggle like my parents did. So I've always had a work ethic, which I've took after my dad, actually. Yeah, just go out there and if you want something, then you go and get it. You don't get handed stuff for free. You just don't. You've got to work for it. And unfortunately, I would think not everyone, I don't want to label this generation we've got now as all lazy, because they're not. But I do think youngsters these days want an extreme amount for very little effort. And it's a difficult one, isn't it? It's really difficult.
I think as well, like the technology these days has changed so much that you can just ask ChatGPT for something and it'll do it in a second, and like that is definitely breeding like a different environment, isn't it?
It is, and to be fair, I'm a little bit of a technophobe. However,
Okay.
I've realised in the last 3 months how important AI is.
Yeah.
Even if it's just an event or a sale or something you want to, it's incredible what it can do once you know how to use it. So anyone that's not using AI at the moment, I would strongly suggest that they start to pick it up, because unfortunately, or fortunately, that's the way things are going to go. And if you don't move with the times,
I agree.
I think you're going to get left behind.
Well, it's like the invention of the combine harvester. All farmers are like, that's going to ruin jobs, blah blah blah. But in the end, if you don't get on the combine harvester, you can't mow the field as well as the next person, and
Exactly.
you have to get with the times, isn't it? You can't just go, well, I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
Everyone's using it and they're getting ahead, so you need to work out how to use it, or work out how to use it best for you or your use cases, of course. But
look, I don't know what the high street's going to look like in 25 years' time. I have no idea. It might not exist at all. But at the moment, I do see a little bit of a revival in people wanting to come back. And like I said, see someone face to face, get an honest advice, honest, opinions and stuff like that.
Yeah, with on that vein, to be fair, you've got so many different flavors, and I think when we first spoke, you sort of alluded to it that people can come in and mix flavors as well. How does that kind of thing work?
Well, like I said, so I'll show you something like, I don't really want to do product placement, but that one, for instance, that's classed as a stock liquid. Okay. That would retail normally for
Okay.
about 15, 16 pounds. Okay. Whereas
Mhm.
this bottle we have here, that one, we can mix up any flavour that the customer wants. And we've got roughly about 100 flavours, but there's so many different permutations that you can make for that. This is what people like to, I can have a banana with an Irish whiskey and I want some peppermint with it. I'd like a little bit of orange with it, some peach. And they
Oh,
can
clever.
create their very own liquid that's never ever been created before. And that's the beauty of it. People love the concept and love
Oh,
the idea. They also love the idea of the bottles not going into landfill, and people getting a discount for coming back. And
mhm.
it promotes some loyalty to us as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and okay, that's pretty cool actually. I've got more questions off the back of that. With how they do that, have you ever seen anybody, they go like, oh, I don't know, apple crumble, and I don't know, let's make an apple crumble with custard flavor or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you've gone like, oh, actually, that's like a lot of people have asked for that. Let's make that as a flavor. Is that ever happened?
Um, yeah, once or twice. However, sometimes
Okay.
getting flavors, specific flavors, like that. So if
Yeah.
you did an apple crumble and custard and ginger, for instance, there's quite a lot
Yeah.
involved in getting that to market um,
Sure.
and getting it produced. So what we do is we tend to get uh, made for us the apple crumble, the custard, the ginger, and then we mix it together
Right.
at what
Oh,
strengths that they want. Because some people might like, I only want a hint of ginger,
that makes sense.
so we put a little bit less of ginger in. I want more vanilla. So that's how we
Yeah.
do it. So it's like I
Right.
said, it's totally
Or
unique.
cinnamon or yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And do you feel like there's I guess because of the refill side of things, the reduce side of things, there's a lot of returning customers. Do you feel like that's quite a big part of your business?
That is the biggest part of our business. Yeah.
Wow.
I would say 85%, 90% of our customers come back week after week after
Wow.
week.
Which any business would be happy with. Yeah,
So yeah, yeah.
that's amazing. Do you do you think do you think there's anything that other businesses could do that you've done to increase return business? Is there anything that you
Uh,
could go, you know what, this could roll out to many other businesses?
I think the biggest thing is having the right staff and having that customer
Mm,
service. Because so many times you'll have done this, I've done it many times. I've been into a store and either someone's on the phone or doing the nails
yeah.
or they're like hawks and they, fly around and they just want to pressure sell to you. Um, I think for businesses that are in any kind of selling process,
Mhm,
I've never been a pressure
mhm.
salesman. I've always been
Right.
happy to just give the advice to people and let them make an informal decision themselves. And I
Mhm.
honestly do believe that if you give them people the time of day and they don't necessarily buy that at that point, I don't see it as a failure. I do kick myself, but
Mhm.
I'm
Mm.
pretty confident that those people, when they're ready, will come back because of the experience that they had without the pressure sales, without the
Mm.
you need this. And unfortunately, you get that from, dare I say, lots of vape stores
Yeah.
up and down the country. Someone will come in, yeah, I smoke quite heavy. I want to stop smoking. And they'll walk out of a vape shop having spent 100, £150 on devices that just aren't going to work. You know, and we like to sort of let people look. If you're not happy with what we're telling you, go to some other stores. Just ask the same questions, see what answers you get, and then if you're not happy, come back and we can sort it out. I mean, we've been working with one of the councils where our first store in North Links, their healthy lifestyle service. So the last 3 years we've provided them with all their vape kits and juices. So they have a scheme where people want to stop smoking, they contact the no smoking service. We supply them with the kits and the juice, and then we can track how efficient it is working for them. We've just landed another contract with another council. So that money that's going to come in is going to enable the growth of liquid mist quite quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I think you've just got to, like
you said.
Yeah, I just think you've got to just. I go back to being tenacious. Yes, have your bad days, but just put them behind you. You've just got to be different. I just think you've got to be different to everyone else. You know, I look at coffee shops, okay, on the high street, right? And I used to think, how can all these coffee shops make money? But if you go into somewhere like one of the big chains, Costa, Starbucks, whatever, it's quite corporate. Whereas people with lovely, cozy environments, like my daughter's got a bookstore and kitchen. She's just opened that. She'd be interested in doing this because she needs the exposure. But people go in there and people can go read a book. She has sound baths. She has events. They can get good home cooked food, you know. But because she's a small business, it's very tough for her to pull people away from the Starbucks, the Costas, the big chains. But you know, bless her, she struggles a bit. And I've said to her, look, you've been going 6, 7, 8 months now. It will come. Just remain focused, and it will come. So on my days off, I'm helping her as well.
I think it's really nice to have. And I personally, and I'm sure I speak for many other people as well, it's like once you've gone into one of those small boutique businesses, whether it's the shop like yourself or your daughter's cafe or anyone like that, once you've gone in and you had that positive experience, you're then the customer for life. Like, unless they do anything drastically wrong, you're like, actually, I want to support this business, but I didn't know about it before. So it's difficult to get the name out. And I can imagine for yourself with a vape company, how hard is it to advertise? Like, how do you advertise?
It's very difficult because you're limited with regulations, you see, because it's part of the tobacco regulations products. You are very limited. You can't put anything on Facebook. You just get taken down. So we've got to be very careful. It's difficult as opposed to someone who can do an Instagram on a cafe. You know, it's very easy. But when there's regulations involved and the government want to, you know, stop certain things, then it's very difficult. But you know, I'm confident someone will always find a way around things, and I'm one of those people as well that will just evolve and just, do you know what? Okay, they've put an obstacle in the way. I'll climb over it and just find a way around it. So that's my thought process anyway.
I love it. Where do you think you've got this? You briefly mentioned about your mum and dad and their work ethic. Do you think it's mainly from your parents that you've got this
definitely.
work ethic? Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just gonna happen, right?
Absolutely. I remember my dad. One day it snowed. It was back in the 70s, and it was snow drifts. It must have been at 1.5 meters high, the snow, and he actually walked from home to work and slept there for 3 days. He was a workaholic. He worked for us. And yeah, and my mum was the same, you know. And I just think all I wanted to do was instill in my children, like I said before, if you want something, you go and work for it, because you ain't going to get it for free. So, yeah, I do think work ethic is a big factor in people having businesses. There are a lot of people that have businesses that, to me, when I look outside, I think, why are you closed on a Monday? Why have you closed early? Why are you not closed? Why are you not open on a Sunday? You know, and I think you're missing a trick.
Yeah, so weird.
Isn't it though? It's
just because every other barber shuts on a Monday. Yeah, why would you? You'd be open on a Monday because everyone else is.
Do you know what?
It's
People go on about immigrants and stuff, right? But Christmas Day last year, I took my mum home and I was driving down this road and there were 3 barber shops open on Christmas Day. You know, and I thought, you know, I've got to hand it to them. The work ethic is there. You know,
yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from or what you come from or anything. It's if you can work hard, you're going to be ahead of the people that can't. Like you really are.
I strongly believe that. Strongly believe that. And yes, like I said before, I've made mistakes in my life, and I've always been good at getting a job, and I've lost count of how many jobs I've had since I left school. But I remember I'd sort of always sell myself in an interview, and then I'd get to start, and I'd be stood wherever I was, and I'd be thinking after a few days, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. And then I'd just find. I just not found my niche, you know. So.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well for people to work in, and as like you said at the start, of work somewhere or build something, build a brand around something that is something that they believe in, that they truly get and they truly understand. I think having that as like the backbone is so important, and it's.
I think there's a lot of people that are in business that don't necessarily believe in what they're selling. And I think that's the wrong thing to do. You strongly have to be behind what you're selling and believe in what you're selling. I'll use this as an analogy, okay? And I don't really always want to go on about vape stores as such, but to me, there are proper vape stores and then there are people playing at it. And these people playing at it don't believe in the product, don't believe in what they're selling, don't believe in customer service. They're the ones that will happily sell to 15-year-old kids. And to me, they've got no morals. And I think if you've not got any morals in the business that you're doing, get out. Just get out. If you don't believe in what you're selling, get out. And find something that you do believe in. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, that's great advice. Really good advice. We're sort of coming towards the end, and I want to always ask if you had, I mean, that's good advice on its own. If you had any advice for somebody starting out today, not necessarily the same business as yourself, but that's whatever age they are, because they might be in their 70s, they might be in their 20s, or anywhere in between. But would you have any advice that you would give as a blanket advice to somebody looking to start a new business that they're currently like really, really interested in? They've got some spare time, but they're not, the business isn't at a point where they can just give it all up and go all in on that. Or what is your advice to that person?
Right. I would definitely say to youngsters that are fortunate enough to be still living at home, that there's no risk to them. So I would generally say to them, do you know what? If you're passionate about something, do it. If it fails, so what? Dust yourself down, think of something else and try it again, because you've got nothing to lose. Someone middle-aged or in the later years, do you know what? Just try it. Just try it. And if it doesn't work, yes, the statistics show, I think 80% of businesses fail within the first year. I understand that. But I do put that down to a lot of people thinking, I'll start a business, and not really knowing what they were doing and not really believing in what they're selling or offering. So I would, like I said, go back to believing what you're saying, you're selling, be passionate about what you're doing. And if you're passionate about it, that will come across in what you're offering, whether it's hairdressing, welding, whatever. If you're passionate about your job and what you're offering, go out there and do it, because it's the best thing I ever did by far. And I wish I'd done it years ago.
That's it. Yeah. And did you go, you said that you've done it with other jobs in the background as well. Are you now full-time? Is this your full-time thing?
Yes, I've been full-time here now for 6 years.
Yeah. And what was that jump like? Was it an obvious thing to do at the time? Like, look, I just don't have capacity to do anything else. Or
do you know what? I got to the stage where it was like, I just didn't like working for people anymore.
Same.
I'm not a rebellious kind of person, but it was like, you know, you get told something to do and you think, why are you asking me to do it that way when it's you don't mend a fence if it's not broken. But you generally get new managers coming in, wanting to stamp their authority, wanting to reinvent the wheel. And I just thought, no, I don't want this anymore. I don't want to be this kind of manager. And I didn't want to be this sort of person as well, because I've had management positions before where it was KPIs and, you know, performance manage people. No, I'm very old school. And my philosophy is, if you look after me, I'll look after you. And I believe we've got a nice, good family of staff working for us. So, yeah, that's what I'd say to that.
That's lovely. That's lovely. That's really nice. And it comes across. It really does. It's more than a shop. It's more than it seems more like an experience to be a part of what you guys are doing. Yeah, I can imagine that your customers are very happy people buying from yourself. Like, I can imagine they're walking away with positive vibes for sure.
They do. I mean, I came to the shop here a couple of hours ago, and within that couple of hours, we had 5 brand new customers, and the look on their face when they walk through, you know, and they're studying all the pictures on the wall and seeing the fire on the TV. Wow. And you can tell, and you just say to them, you've not been in before, have you? No. And then it's like, what made you come in? What made you come in here today? And sometimes you'll get, you're the only store that's open, or, you know, I've heard good things about you, or I've seen you stood outside with your suit on and your flat cap, and I've been intrigued. So, yeah, it's a lovely feeling for people to come in and you see them just studying everything, thinking, wow, you know. And I think with businesses these days, especially retail business, if you're not different, you're boring. I honestly do think that. And, you know, you can walk into let's say I don't know, a toy store, and you could have 2 side by side. One that just has everything in the boxes, stacked up on shelves, and the other one, they've got them out. You can play with them, you know.
Yeah.
I know which one I'm going to go to. And that's my, you know, that's my philosophy. It's like, you've got to be different. And my advice to anyone wanting to do something is, if you're passionate about it, then go for it, but think ahead all the time. How can you improve things? Because you can.
Great words of wisdom. Yeah, you can. You actually can. And there's so many things that people just haven't thought about, that you can think of that and you can create something from nothing. And I think the good thing is with trying stuff is that if it doesn't work, you try something else. Like,
you know what?
Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay to go backwards.
Exactly. You've only got to watch an episode of Dragon's Den, And the amount of times I'll be watching and think, oh my God, what an idea. That is a true entrepreneur. Why didn't I think of that? You know, and half these people wouldn't be anywhere if they had not sort of decided, you know what, I'm going to pack up my 9-to-5 job and invest all my time in this and put my house on the market, invest what I've got. There wouldn't be anything unless they've not tried.
Yeah.
And just try it. Get out there, be inspired to go out there and start your own business. Because it'll be the best thing you ever do.
Great advice. Absolutely brilliant, and rightly so. I think before we go as well, could you, I need it on here somewhere, could you please announce what your daughter's shop is called, please? Because I think there'll be people on there going, Sam, why haven't you asked that? Like, I think it's rude not to ask.
Bless you. It's Luby's.
You've got to get a shout out. Come on.
Luby's Bookstore and Kitchen. 87 Mary Street.
And how do you spell Luby?
Loubies. Luby's Bookstore and Kitchen.
Bless you. Excellent. Well, we'll look forward to seeing that on a future episode, I think. I think you've hooked me up with like 4 different people to speak to. So
no, honestly,
thank you very much.
They'd be extremely interested. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And I really do hope that anyone viewing it gets something out of it. I really do. And hopefully 1 or 2 people might be inspired to just think, do you know what? This guy's 58. He started his business at 50. Let's do it. Let's do it. Because you can do it.
What's stopping us?
Nothing's stopping you apart from yourself. So
100%. Well, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Andy, and it's been a pleasure to speak to you. I will get all this edited and put out on YouTube and on Spotify and all the other podcast places. So thank you so much for hanging with me and answering all my questions.
Thank you so much, mate, for the opportunity. Appreciate it.